anybody else is watching it, make sure you got it muted. What are we talking about today?
Alright folks, welcome to another episode of the Star Citizen Report from Grievance. Hosting here, you got Thamin, right next to me as usual. That's you,
Memo. Evening, folks.
Alright, and right down here below me, that's you, Whoop.
Tell me that before I can see myself, thanks.
And we have back for the second week, I made a mistake.
Arlia, you've lost a lot of weight, and your hair is a different color, and you're 15 to 20 years younger.
We'll fix that real quick. Yes,
I don't want to be Arlia, but I want his hanger full of ships.
Oh, who doesn't? The
I'll
master
take his name.
hanger.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, obviously I didn't totally get things right, but now that should be right there. So Spin back for a second week with us.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, I make a habit of you getting back here. I get folks in the live chat too. So that is Arlia? No, that is not Arlia. Oops. Sometime I have to get a picture up here. All right. So Spin, you're joining us for another week here, and we're going to have a surprise guest for our next show on the 15th, so the 29th. We're actually going to have Matt Fossa on. That did the music for Wingman's Hangar and did the music, that opening video for our show.
Cool.
So we'll be welcoming him in. Otherwise, we'll have just a number of videos and pictures from you. Most of our stuff tonight kind of focused around the verse, and 10 for the chairman, and in one case a 10 for the writers that was out during I think PAX Australia. So still a lot of news there, and I still got a lot of videos and pictures despite the fact that it's like right after Citizen Con. Sometimes right after that big con there's a bit of a lull in the eye candy I can throw out for the audience. Meanwhile, someone peeking over Spin's shoulder.
Well, if your kids aren't going to make it, mine will.
So I was going to start with the stretch goals that we've hit since the last show here. So we now at first hit $60 million, and that unlocked the twin-engine deep space fighter, the Aegis Bulldog.
I voted for that. Woo.
Yeah. I think that was popular. Twin-engine and two-seater deep space fighter. So it'd be interesting to look at that one. Right now, the only two-seater fighter, if you consider the Cutlass, that was one, and the Super Hornet.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Avenger variants, which they've said we'll see more early next year, so Avenger variants early 2015, if we might see a two-seater version. I know they said the two-seater was a trainer version, but since they have it, I'm hopeful we'll see one like that.
I think it's open when it comes to those variants. I wouldn't be surprised if they've heard all the concerns on the forums about how long it's taken them to come out, and the Avenger was one of the original concept ships that Chris had. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some really kick butt ships coming out of that.
Yeah, but look at the Cutlass. I mean, look how long we even waited for a model of that. Now we have the model. I want it. I'm ready to fly it. I would probably up and purchase one if they were flyable at this point. And I think,
Right.
if they want to keep revenue stream coming in, they need to get more of these ships available for people to actually use in the, in the Arena Commander, because that's influencing what I have in my hangar right now about what's flyable.
Memo's bang on, because when those ships come out, when we get Arena Commander 2.0 and we can fly multi-crewed ships, there is going to be a spike in revenue, especially if they have lots of variants ready to go.
I mean, they better be ready with that. I mean, the Constellation's been one of the popular ships. Getting that out the door, I think, would be a top priority for them, because they'll even be able to, sell more of those.
Yeah, probably not enough of the freelancer people making a shout out there, but was also an early one. Now Avenger, I remember there was some voting and folks wanted the Retaliator before the Avenger, which I imagine takes a lot more, bigger ship, takes a little more work, and yet we haven't seen those. I'm hoping to see more. We've been able to see some eye candy, put it on the show, some videos and that, but hopefully we'll see more of that soon, either in the hangar or wherever. And yep, live chat brought something up which we're going to get to a little closer here. So also over PAX Australia, we unlocked $61 million, the boarding ship. Now, the following two ships, this one and the next one, are from new ship manufacturers. The Aspera Prowler. It says it's a modernized version of the infamous Tevarin boarding craft from the first Tevarin War. The Prowler's effectiveness, a rapid personnel deployment vehicle, mainly due to its silence. So this is the boarding ship. Get close to unsuspecting vessels before quickly deploying their boarders via EVA. So that's the next one we've unlocked, and like I say, a new ship manufacturer.
The stealth drop pod. Sweet.
And at 62 million, we're gonna have folks pick the passenger liner, a Genesis class starliner from Crusader Industries. So that's our other new manufacturer. Proud history of transport designs, a next-gen passenger ship at a price that won't break your budget. But they're also available in a number of stock configurations. So from passengers to freight to comfort. And even the UEE military operates multiple Genesis conversions for support roles, including SWACS.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, you think that's going to draw a lot of interest from people? I mean, I guess they'd be good working ships, but I mean, the way they make it sound, it's a passenger liner that you can haul freight on. That's just not very sexy.
It's a niche market. There's going to be a few people. It's not going to be something that I'm interested in, but I know a few people would be interested in that.
It's like the luxury liner they released. I didn't see that didn't appeal to me either. But I mean, I know that the Grievance Fleet got one, or two.
The Herald wasn't the best looking ship either, but actually, let me put something up here.
Steady dissing the Herald there.
Yeah,
I think the Herald's a good-looking ship.
Well, I was saying it wasn't, but look at it. It had that appeal. In fact, I'm going to throw some pictures up here, some alternate Herald designs that they have out there. So, a few other versions. Who knows? Maybe we'll still see one of these alternate versions out as variants or so. And then, so we also voted for a third starter ship as our next goal, and they put it out there, 4 choices. So again, great. So we're getting a starter ship, and they said, well, choose what you're interested in. First choice was a Drake Dragonfly, a speedy ultralight that's cheap and easily customizable. An Aegis Terrapin, the best armored and shielded for the price, and made some mention of its use as like a mining ship too, a little storage. An Anvil Hurricane, designed to blast anything that gets in its way. And the MISC Reliant, a 2-seater vertical craft using Xeon technology, which was way ahead the rest of them, like 50% of the votes.
Wow. I'm not interested in that one. I voted for the turtle, the terrapin. I thought it would be better to have a starter ship that gave somebody a capability to do like industrious versus just straight combat. So
Yeah, that is a very valid point. There isn't an option like that, but I think a lot of the beginning is going to be, combat orientated.
I'm glad that Chris
But there's a
Roberts
lot of-
said. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but there's a lot of people who aren't going to focus on the combat side of it. And I think having a starter ship, like for me, I went for the Reliant because it's going to have sleek lines. It's going to be very different than the other two starter ships. It's going to be multi-crewed, or it would be multi-crewed. So it's the only starter ship where you and your buddy could go in on it and work together. And I think that'll appeal to a lot of people.
no, the Aurora's got a chair and a bed. So
But there's
and,
no teamwork there. You can't work together to fly the ship.
Whoop's saying he'd
Oh.
like some company, I'm pretty sure. Is that what you're saying, Whoop? You'd like some
oh,
company?
I traded mine in. I'm good.
You traded in your station wagon.
And I noticed the Reliant, didn't really mention a function. It was just the kind of uniqueness in the alien design, and yet that's struck with a lot of people. Yeah, I think out of that list, I also kind of missed the fact that the Drake Dragonfly is currently may miss out, and who knows? Chris Roberts said any of these we might see back later on, because when you think at it too, that Drake Dragonfly sounds like it could have possibly been another racing option. Small and light, speedy.
Are the cops at Spin's house?
I
I
was
see
thinking the same
flashing
thing.
lights.
I thought it's funny. So, I may not pronounce this right. Falone Wolf in our live chat. The bed in the Aurora is kind of small. So small I got stuck in it a bit ago.
I can believe that. It's not like my bathroom adventures in the Constellation, which by the way, they've rearranged that for me. But I got stuck in the deployable cargo bay. Got it and couldn't get out.
Alright, so I'm going to come back and show there is a new ship available for us to play in the latest patch. The 315. The 315P, so that's the Pathfinder, the Explorer. Now that is playable in Arena Commander.
Awesome.
For those fortunate enough to have a 315P still in their hangar.
Is that something they're currently selling or no?
Yeah, you can get that as one of the beginner packages. I think it's around the $70 or $80 range. So,
Well, you get the
That's pretty
300
nice.
die, and then you upgrade it. The
Yes,
325 pack is only $15, $25, something like that. So
That's not flyable yet, though, right?
yeah, it is 325 was the
It-
ship
it-
before this one. Yep.
Yep.
yeah,
Also
the
Arena Commander now.
325 came out. Now they got the 315P, which Spin, as I was telling people, is great if you're fortunate enough to have a 315P still in your hangar.
I appreciate it, my friend.
I need to pick up something to play besides just I sold my 2 ships that were playable in there. Now all I have is the trainer. So I need to pick something up. I
Yes,
meant to do it before this evening, so I might get on that before our Star Citizen event tonight.
right. Grievance is gonna. We've arranged that Grievance is gonna get in a little multiplayer action tonight. Hopefully, I'm gonna be streaming that on this channel too. I put it up as around 8:30. Hopefully, it will happen here. I'm certainly looking forward to it, even if it
You
isn't.
just want to see us crash or something? Come on.
Oh, if we want to go crash, that's one of my next topics. That backers have gotten to play the M50 this past week. And
Yeah, about that.
so you want to talk about crashing?
It wasn't crashing. I just can't hit anything with it. I really like the way it flies. It's very smooth. It's got a lot of speed, but I can't hit anything with it. I can't hit anything except the side of an asteroid. I can hit those pretty well, usually with part of the ship. But I really like the way they fly.
Oh, that's
I
what I
really
did
found
too.
a big difference on the racing side between the M50 and the 350R. The M50 is so much more maneuverable and easy to maneuver around the race course. It made a huge difference for me having that M50 compared to the 350R.
And I didn't try the 350R. I did obviously try the M50. Definitely very maneuverable, sometimes too maneuverable. I had tendency to overcorrect. And I was going to do a video as me doing laps. I was doing my best laps. Unfortunately, once I actually started turning the video on and taping it, then I was crashing left and right. So maybe it'll come out sometime as a compilation crash video. That's about it.
Sorry, guys. The kids were quiet all day, and now it's a disaster. I'll be back in a minute.
Alrighty.
No problem.
Alright.
Like candy coating, I keep telling you, man.
So fans, backers have also been asked once again to help design the lore of the game, focusing now on how does artificial gravity work. They asked the fans, how does the artificial gravity work? And backers stepped forward, began giving several suggestions, and are currently molding this futuristic system the Star Citizen's going to use. I know I got my 2 cents on it.
I like the subterfuge one, the one you keep on spinning like Hell 9000 and Space Odyssey and all that. But the thing is, if you turn it off and the gravity goes away, it's going to make the thing stop spinning. So everybody just, how do you do that in combat? That's really weird.
Folks messing with our live Twitch bot again. And yes, subscribers now have a liquor cabinet as part of their hangar flare.
I don't need to play the game for that, do I?
No, but that's for the backers that actually subscribe to Jump Point magazine. They're the ones getting all this hangar flare in their in their hangars. Sorry, that was rather redundant. All right. So, I was going to move on to some of these latest episodes we're looking at around the verse and such. Sad news from the latest one that just came out yesterday, that Eric Wingman Peterson has left Cloud Imperium Games. So, we're sorry to see him go. He was the one that was originally putting on the weekly show that was giving us a lot of our information. I thought it was well done. He was a great personality to attach to Star Citizen. So, yeah, he'll be missed by the fans, too.
Maybe you can get him the following week. Have him on here.
All right. Yeah, maybe I can still get him on the show, get him to talk about stuff. The United Kingdom testing balancing aspects in Arena Commander, which is partly why the M50 was unlocked for subscribers to play with. Persistent Universe, Sig Austin has been creating the design for jump point scanning and navigation. So in the very near future, we should see our first artwork of a jump point. I like to think we had a peek of it in the Freelancer commercial.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how it works. I hope it's not like Rebirth. So.
And let's see. Sorry, I was trying to read the live chat. You folks got to be with us in our live chat on Twitch. Like I say, every other Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm just trying to keep up with some of the live conversations we're broadcasting here. Work is being done to give us those extra rooms that will extend out from our hangars, and as well as a discussion about modular capability and how it affects Squadron 42 Mission 7, as well as the Persistent Universe. So again, stuff I'm interested in, but they don't give us enough clues what's going on there. Let's see. The care concept is coming soon. That was actually mentioned in 2 different Around the Verses lately. Maybe that will be related. We do know Sandy put out word that there is going to be some kind of a concept sale for Thanksgiving weekend. So, but we just, your guess is
Black
what?
Friday.
Oh gosh, there we go. Black Friday wouldn't get on their Christmas list. Star Citizenship.
I'd still like to see Star Citizen get involved with Humble Bundle. I think that'd be really cool. Even if it's just like a racing pattern or another kind of skin or something. It'd be cool to put some ships up there.
Yeah. And we already talked about the Avenger variants. It does sound like the base model, they're working on getting into Arena Commander by the end of the year.
Sweet. I get to fly my money.
Also looks like they mentioned a future first-person shooter game mode called Breach Assault, which will be centered around boarding actions. So I'm interested to see what is there. I hope it also offers a choice of where you're going to board, because right off the bat, it probably would be boring for backers if it's the same entry every time. But it does sound like it at least gives you a little unexpected listen leeway. Maybe if you have a choice of which point you're going to breach, and then the team goes in there. Right.
There's too many variables to think about because you got to figure out what ship you're going to be on to attach to another ship, and another point where you're going to be at, and how do you know when you're attached correctly? And so this would be a little mini game to figure out how to play it. I'd be okay if it's the same thing over and over again if we learn how to do it, and then they add to it so that they can set up all the variables.
That whole line of discussion with variables was pretty confusing to me. So it's okay with me, I guess, if they keep docking at the same spot. Or I'm totally confused now. Well.
I'm going to show you guys just a quick sneak peek here, because they were showing images which I think Ben Lesnick kind of leaked. It was some artwork from the Caterpillar. So some of the white boxing that's there.
Her streaming doesn't have any points. Wow.
Alrighty. So a little sneak peek at that part. Definitely know there are also a few Caterpillars in Grievance. Especially even I know our illustrious leader has one. So, as well as finding out, is that going to actually fit very well in the hangars? Because that's also going to be a huge ship.
Those chairs actually remind me of Memos.
And that's what I was making sure I read it too, because I thought the size of that bridge could actually apply to a few different ships, but that's what it sounded like. Ben Lesnick kind of gave a clue that it was the Caterpillar. Around the verse 19, I can go over. If anyone else had any notes of this 20 that they wanted to go over?
You know how this goes, man.
I thought I'd check with Spin, because like I say, I don't always get the very latest around the verse on the notes in time for the show, so that's why I had to check. Okay, Ansler is saying that is the Starfarer, which was one of the things I was kind of wondering too. But I don't know, Ben Lesnick made it sound like it was the Caterpillar.
Well, the Starfarer only has a two-man crew.
Misleading me. No, Starfarer's got, I think that's also like a 4 or 5 man crew. It's a big ship. I know the crew was up there too, that one and the Reclaimer.
It'd be nice if it was the inside of the Reclaimer.
Yeah, that would be sweet. It'll be a while before we see the Reclaimer.
It was worth it though, right?
Yeah. They did mention a note, again a vague note but an interesting one, that, and this around the verse 19, that lots of cockpit switches and controls that don't seem to have a function yet will have one, and it's being balanced out.
The Starfarer is actually a 2-person crew.
Yeah. But it can carry 6 though, it's saying, so of course 2 people up front, 6 people, whatever.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, there always can be extra seating. I mean, the Freelancer crew of 2, but it's got seats for 4. So, okay. Like I said, I could easily be wrong. I'm going by what Ben may have slipped, may not have. The Arena Commander lobby system is looking good and still being designed for version 1.0. Here, Squadron 42, they're working on the multi-crew grunt work, and internally it's the Idris that's being their test level on it. So
well, basically, with all the work they've done, they've pretty much told us the Idris is going to be the centerpiece of Squadron 42. I'm not even sure. We'll probably see a Bengal carrier, maybe part of a Bengal carrier at the very end, but I think the vast majority of the time is going to be spent on the Idris.
Okay.
Sounds legit.
And I'm looking at some of the live chat too, because a few folks are discussing the pros and cons of what ship that is. I think it's worth saying, Answer saying that the Starfare went back to concept. They made it bigger and a little different in shape. So that'll be interesting to see. Persistent Universe mining system is being developed into the minigame that backers will use in the Persistent Universe. Foundry 42 is working on the next 6 ships of the Vanduul fleet, including the Blade and Cleaver.
Uh-oh. That sounds like some Memo ships. Now, Arlia, you're not going to pass on these, are you? Come on, buddy. I'm counting on you.
No pressure.
No, he passed on the scythe, and I've yet to let that one go.
He told me he
Arlia?
regretted it.
Why? Because I've whined about it so much?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it.
Alright. There we go. Someone's going to have to find a Vanduul Scythe and gift it to Arlia. But, yes, definitely the
He
same
doesn't
name,
want
so
it.
we'll see if
I
there's some
want it.
more Blade ships on here.
Arlia could care less about the scythe. He's just tired of listening to me whine about it.
This looked pretty cool when you blow it off the side of the ship. Where the blade's just like floating around.
They come apart nicely, is what you're saying?
Yeah. You wouldn't notice it unless like you shot it off instead of ramming it off. So you know.
Mm.
Yes, I imagine there's some more blade-shaped ships, including maybe, who knows, some of them might get rather ridiculous in size.
Oh, the cleaver sounds nice. Jump!
They have locked the concepts of those Avenger variants, which are now getting prepared. So at least, even though they haven't, yeah, I know they've got Avenger notes scattered all over here, and they keep teasing us with it.
Gonna give me a migraine. I want it so bad, but okay. Maybe I'll just spend more money and get 2.
Starfare and Caterpillar are moving into white boxing phase, which is a little old because, yeah, and see there they can kind of throw at us too. Both of those ships are in the white boxing phase, so it doesn't help looking at which one is that. Oh, and they mentioned the Starfare will be used in the intro to Squadron 42. Yeah.
That's how you up in the worlds. First you start toting the gas, then you pump it, and then you're in a different ship. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Don't get that started. We'll get angry email.
You have to work your way up the rungs, dude. Get your way up the ladder.
Starting as
There's-
pump jockey.
Yeah.
There's rungs, there's a ladder. Nobody told me any of this. This is complete news to me.
You bought the
Rungs,
Bengal
ladders.
Tiger. You bought the Bengal carrier thing, okay? So
Me?
You just
I
bought
didn't
it to
buy
hire.
Bengal Carry.
yeah, okay.
That would be interesting. Harlia, how many of the Bengals would you get, buddy? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, it's a kind of healing aspect to the game with ships and people, apparently.
I was muted there. Part of that. So we're going to look at some medic footage, because how many games, even Call of Duty or Battlefields, do you have a medic and maybe they can't properly fulfill their role? Death of a Spaceman, that's going to be pretty important. First-person shooter is going to be pretty important, so I'm going to show some footage of that here.
Look, a medic is not a medic just because he has shock paddles. That's a secondary weapon. You can use that.
Okay, what about the Battlefield Vietnam with the guy with the giant syringe? That makes him a medic, but paddles don't.
Here, let me get this running real quick. It's about a little over 30 seconds, but I kind of show you healing this guy as he goes down.
Watch out, they're using tractor. I'm hit. Rodney, you got me? I got you. Hey guys, keep that a high rate of fire up while he's healing me up. Hey, I'm gonna practice. I'm having the worst luck with this.
And just like that, back into the action.
Okay, first off, I like the fact that you can pull your comrades out from that area. That's awesome. Thing I don't
Totally
like is that
agree.
you have to use them. You have to use your guy. That's weird. Same.
Yeah, and like I say, I'm kind of looking forward to that too. Maybe it'll still convince my wife to get involved in the game since she loves to play healers, and there's a healing role in it now. All right.
Well, you're still muted.
Huh? No, now I should be going.
Memo's muted.
Oh.
I'm back.
There you go.
I was saying, how many times do you think you're gonna have to pull my corpse in pieces out of the way there, Will? I mean, I'm kind of a shotgun, light machine gun kind of FPS player.
Remember the last time I rezzed you and healed you? No. because I
Over and
didn't.
over and over while I was dying. Yeah, I remember.
I let you run ahead and die, and then I tried to get to you because apparently they're going to kill me anyways. But whatever.
All right. So I was going to say too. Now, Chris Roberts did have a interview over in Australia, and there was still a lot of it that I'm showing some footage from that right now. There was still a lot of it that was still pretty basic for folks that are just getting into Star Citizen and introducing them. But I did think that there was a real notable quote inside there. Chris Roberts said, "But because I'm doing Star Citizen and interacting with the people supporting it, I'm hearing from people that played my games in the past, and I hear all these stories that I never would have guessed. Such as, quote, I became a pilot because I played Wing Commander all those years ago, unquote. And, quote, I went into NASA to learn more about space after playing Wing Commander, unquote."
It was a good game.
Yeah, and he says, and I started to realize, wow, some of the stuff I did in-game affected some of the people growing up the same way I was affected by Star Wars and what George Lucas was doing on film.
Oh, our Leo's great. Oh, I miss him so much.
That's awesome, Arlia. We're ready to get you back on the show, brother. We miss your input.
Good stuff.
I say, folks, you gotta join us for our live chat every other Saturday, 6 p.m. You don't know what you're missing out inside here.
It's hilarious, Arlia. Thanks.
All right, so did lose my train of thought right there. I thought it was pretty good that he said that, though. A lot of people were heavily influenced by it. You know, a lot of us. I kind of really relinked it on our forums recently. That video, "A Promise" by Brigand. Folks, look on YouTube, Brigand70, "A Promise." That was a real good one too. And let's talk about some 10 from the chairman. And so with Chris Roberts, he was being asked about job boards in the game, so to speak. He said one must first get indoctrinated into that guild, whether pirate, bounty hunter, merchant, etc. And this was, let's see, and then they can get access to the job boards. But like he said, sometimes it won't be that simple as going to a job board. Sometimes a street back alley will give you a quest in a rather interactive way.
Wow, that could go all different kinds of directions. What kind of quest? What are we talking about here? Back alley?
Memo's all over that one.
Yeah.
Thinking, are we talking? Never mind.
And someone asked, I assume someone who plans the pirate kind of life, about how you would go after the most successful bounty hunters. So there was someone on the offense. And Chris Roberts kind of mentioned there is a roundabout way that pirates can find out who's kind of the most successful bounty hunters. You know, everyone's got their stats and their standings. So I assume that could be a way that maybe they could try turning the tables a bit there.
Oh, I have no doubt there's going to be back and forth between the pirate hunters and the pirates, because sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and those pirates are going to be, you know, just as often as the pirate hunters are going to be setting ambushes for the pirates pirates are going to be setting ambushes for their hunters. And it's always an advantage to know who's who in the zoo, and those bounty hunter leaderboards are going to give them a pretty good idea.
Who's who in the zoo? I like that.
All right. Just correcting that little statement in the live chat there. And another backer asked a question. Is there a way to test fly a Bengal carrier in Arena Commander before you capture it? And Chris Roberts' answer to that will be, well, Arena Commander will involve using an Idris, but for anything larger, you may have to experiment as you go inside the persistent universe.
Well, someone will figure it out within hours, and 2 seconds later, there'll be a video of how to do it in detail up on YouTube. So, I mean, that stuff really doesn't work anymore.
And
when your guild
hopefully,
had to teach you the steps to do things, it was different, but that doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think it's going to be that so much as the extra work it would take to put the Bengal carrier into Arena Commander. They're just not going to spend that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really what Arena Commander's about so much, is putting the big carriers in there. I would like to see the Constellation and some of the other large ships, in it, because those are going to be fun to fight with, I think.
I was surprised to hear him say he was going to go as high as the Idris.
Really? That is something.
Because that's going to be the Idris, the Corvette, plus all the ships that we're looking at now as the multi-crewed ships.
I'd like to
Of course,
see,
that'll be Arena Commander 8.3.
Yeah. I'd like to see them do King of the Idris, something like that, where you got one crew on the Idris and they got all the guns and whatever, all 8 people, and then you got a squadron of like 8 ships that are all single seaters that tries to take out the Idris, and then they switch positions, and then round 2 is everybody was in the small ships and the big one, and the big ones are in the small ones, try to tip back and forth. I think
you'll see that, but you might see that including the boarding and the taking of the Idris.
Yep.
Yeah, where once you're boarding and the other time you're defending. Yeah, that's pretty standard FPS there, so I could definitely see that.
Go on to the next one here. It does say all artificial intelligence, all AI in the game, are going to have cause and reaction responses. If hired ships aren't getting through due to blockades, missions will roll out for both PCs and NPCs alike to not only transport the needed goods, but to escort and take care of the pirates as well. And, of course, any players involved on either side can hire extra help from both player characters and NPCs as well. So if someone wants to start something, all sorts of people can get involved, not only players but NPCs, in rolling out jobs on both sides and escalating things. Also, first-person shooter. The player's equipment or helmets dictates what you'll be seeing on your heads-up display. Different systems, smart weapons, etc. drive the displays you will see. He also revealed that spaceships will soon differ as well. More dogfight specialized ships will have better, heads-up displays related to dogfighting. Ships like the Aurora will have simpler functionality, like maybe what temperature and softness to set that bed, Woopnyo.
It's not a water bed. It's a coffin.
The station wagon's going to be easier to drive and deal with than, say, your Idris, so that kind of makes sense there.
Yeah, I think it's a great analogy.
Yeah,
it's a great analogy because... Sorry, go ahead.
I got the 325A because it specifically said it had a better UI for combat. It's a better open view for me, but although it's a little high, so I feel like I'm looking down the nose on half my screen. But as soon as they put a new AI, new UI, I should be better at the game. Yeah, right.
I was going to say I like Memo's analogy because not only is it just about the station wagon, but it's about the different models of that station wagon and how much you can upgrade it. There's a limit to how much you can upgrade it, and the same with the BMW. You're going to start at a higher level than the station wagon, and there's going to be more that you can do to upgrade it.
I mean, that commercial they had for the Aurora reminded me of, like, they just took a Subaru commercial, and instead of the Subaru, they replaced it with the Aurora spaceship because, you can do this with it, you can do that with it, you can do this with it, you can do that with it. It's just like, it's very versatile.
That
But
was
I
their
mean, you're
hidden
right.
intent.
You know, you go from Subaru to BMW to Mercedes and on up. You're gonna, hit different rungs of what the bottom rung is.
Like you can have a
I went
great
back
looking
to-
Volvo station wagon with tons of, an upgraded speaker system and dashboard and everything. I mean, but it's still a station wagon at the end of the day.
I'm not
Yeah.
18, man. Put some rims and some spinners. No.
You know it's happening.
You know it's happening. If they open up something where you can make your own paint schemes and do
Oh,
that,
yeah.
which I'm sure they're going to, you're going to see all kinds of interesting stuff. I mean, I think you can already get your logos and guild flags in the game and guild logos. So, people will just build from there. If it can be done, people will figure it out.
I really think that that's something they should consider for real money. And I know that hasn't been something that they've discussed up to date, but I think that if the cost of a custom paint job would cover the requirement to have someone examine it, an actual person to look at it and say, this is not obscene nor ridiculous, and approve it for use in the game, if that was the only cost, then I think that would be very reasonable. And people would
That's
love
legit,
to have their
yeah.
own paint schemes.
I've
Yeah.
never had any issue with putting things in game for real money that are like that are completely cosmetic. That's a good way to continue revenue in. It's when you veer off into the, things that make it pay to win. But yeah, stuff like that is what is made for, in-game shops.
Let's not get into the pay-to-win discussion. It's a good
Let's
one,
not.
but
We could
it's a
go down
long
that
one.
rabbit hole and not come back up for days. Well, Arlie
Was letting that one go.
They're gonna make a larger Aurora and call it a Wego.
Because the original is a Yugo. The whole conversation going on there. And I like Ansler's suggestion that in the persistent universe, we already know there's a little mobiGlass thing on your wrist. With specialized HUDs and stuff, maybe someone's glasses could work as a heads-up display. Would totally work the way the lore is so far. All right.
Memo would be jealous.
Kind of like Google Glass.
Memo would be jealous. Why would Memo be jealous?
There's only
That
two
makes
people on the show with glasses.
Oh. Okay.
Well, he might go a step above
I have
contacts
glasses,
that have
so I'm
their
just
own
not wearing
heads-up
them.
display.
I will wear them on the next show just for you. And we can have three of us with glasses. If we have Arlia on the next show, all four of us will be wearing glasses.
Okay, so anyways.
I went there.
Last thing from that show was the first-person shooter gameplay is balanced to counter the twitch play and snap aim shots that you see in a lot of these first-person shooters. Hip shots are going to go wild. Running players are going to be breathing heavy. That's going to be throwing off their aiming. So, and it just basically sounded like there aren't going to be any quick movements or Looney Tunes bouncing around trying to avoid gunfire.
Wait,
Happy to see
no
that.
Looney Tunes bouncing around, and we're going to take away gravity. That makes sense.
They'll be floating around. There was also a 10 for the chairman during PAX Australia that was actually the writers answering the questions. So that was an interesting, different perspective. When they were asked the cool thing that they're looking forward to seeing in the persistent universe, it wouldn't be a show without somebody's kid sneaking in the picture.
That was Mrs. Memo.
Oh, okay. I guess I couldn't see, so I wasn't sure. Hi, Mrs. Memo.
Hi.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Whoop, just wait until your kid crawls into the scene sometime while we're broadcasting.
No need. We can hear him from where he's at now.
You stop screaming. It's okay. You think?
Okay. Oh, so when the writers were asked the cool thing they want to see in the persistent universe, they were saying Spider and Teverin, the planet Teverin, they're hoping it looks as good as they imagine it. With alien races, they are trying to avoid writing stereotypes. They want the individuals to feel dynamic, intelligent, and as complicated as humanity is.
I think it's a good way to go. I mean, you're going to have a spectrum of the typical personalities, and then you're going to have some that fall outside that spectrum. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
And let's see, writers say that the lore of the persistent universe can be affected and written by players. Of course, we've already seen that on the website and in forums and polls as it is. But whether it's Operation Pitchfork or the discovery of Artemis, I don't know what Artemis is, but the discovery of Artemis, new jump gates discovered, players are going to write the lore of the game as we go forward.
Well, Whoop is our lore expert. What is Artemis?
Wait.
Whoop?
Artemis is another game. That's when you have like 6 or 7 people and you each take a station, or you can break it up, but you need more than one person to play it.
So you can throw anything to Whoop. He'll put something out there for you.
Artemis is a game. I've played it, okay? But nobody else wants to play it with me.
Artemis was a generation ship designed to carry 5,000 people passengers in cold sleep, and it's part of the lore.
Okay, thank you,
there
Spin.
we go.
Spin is
one of
our
the things
new
we're gonna
lore
discover.
guy. Whoop, you're fired.
He searched
start breaking
Wikipedia
down.
quick, and I saw his transmission blink there while he was loading that on the internet. But yeah, I was wondering if it was that, because I also know there was a planet that was settled and then the jump gate went away, so that's another one that's like out there waiting to be discovered by somebody. Other than that, they did say yes, they do use an internal kind of wiki page as well as public posts to keep track of all this release lore and provide the that consistency. All right.
Thanks for that memo. That's awesome.
I've also got some other development reports. Some of their monthly reports of some of the stuff that were... Sorry. Again, interesting chat in live chat. The development team is very happy to see the new version of Arena Commander and the first-person shooter reveal, as well as the reaction from the fans. The engineering team wrapped up work. Actually, we were kind of discussing this earlier on the new paint system for vehicles for Arena Commander version 1.0, which will lay the groundwork for players to customize their own paint jobs and have decals applied to their ships.
So there we go.
New improvements will enable a whole slew of new gameplay strategies for masking one's signature, stealth gameplay, signature management. So that's going to add depth to the ship-to-ship combat on the larger maps. I think we already saw Bug Smashers, where they were kind of describing too as one ship ducking in and out from behind an asteroid, and that it should also kind of like drop off the radar for the moment, not be able to detect it.
It's a viable strategy. Not for you, Memo. Sorry.
What? We're always gonna pick on Memo here. I'm waiting on the new Van Duel ships to come out, so I can ram stuff.
All right. Oh, and something that our audience has been chatting about a lot tonight. The design team also started this month designing things like electronic warfare, mid-flight repair, and better defining the various components of your ship's computer and how they'll impact your user interface and capabilities. The Twitch chat tonight's been talking a lot about that. The electronic warfare on the first-person shooter, EMPs and such.
Guess we're talking about EMPs and plastic bags. It's riveting.
Well, we can expect that, if electronic warfare exists in the game, then there's going to be a counter to it. Electronic support measures, shielding, that sort of thing. So it's very reasonable to expect that some cheaper things are going to be more susceptible to EMP. Some things that are more expensive and more heavily designed to defend against it will be more capable against it. Yeah. But I've got to put on my mini rant here about the Prowler, which was our approved ship, because the Prowler should not be a boarding ship. It should be an electronic warfare ship like the Prowler that exists today. I was really hoping they would make that connection, and now I won't be excited about the Prowler until we actually start seeing pictures of it.
Well, the thing with the EMP, I mean, you got to think, too, if this is something that, in combat you're going to face, surely things like your suit would have some kind of fail-safe or, even mechanical way to keep the, the O2 going. I mean, you'd have to think things like that are built in. Otherwise, you could just nuke everything with an EMP and just use that as just a max weapon and just blast it out. So there's got to be some kind of counters built in, or fail safes.
Sorry, just to interrupt. I've been showing folks pictures of the Terra NPCs that they've been developing. Some of the outfits and styles to be looking forward to here.
That totally fits in with ECMs, or EMP rather.
Well, it was the next thing. I decided to get that going. They've also said that we will see a new ship commercial before the end of the year, but it's going to be more character driven. So it'll allow them to test out some of the new facial and character animation. Maybe because, as Whoop pointed out on a recent cast, so that they get the lips to match up with the words.
Sorry. Never gonna live that down. Whoops, it sucks. No, just for 5 seconds, it doesn't match.
Say that after we play the commercial or the thing,
They
so
have
no one's
$60 million.
focused on
They
it.
can match lips up with the sound.
They have
That's
to
what I'm
come
saying.
back and watch us on YouTube and add those views to the page. All right.
Yeah.
If they want to catch it again. Okay, they are looking to create a variety of landing zones in deep space, including medical facilities, vacation resorts, military outposts, fuel depots, mining colonies, and much more. We love variety. Gaming community loves variety.
Let's go back to the drunken shillelagh again.
And let's see. Big paragraph here. They're aiming to provide us with a diverse array of interesting visual phenomena, many of which will have the potential to be exploited in various ways. Phenomena that are interested in to us. You messed me up. Observer might provide cargo transports with a valuable commodity, or clever combatants with a tactical advantage over less knowledgeable counterparts. We're going to see nebulae, asteroid fields, comets, electromagnetic storms, and the like, but they're also going to be aiming at putting a few surprises in there. So exploration discovery is going to play a huge role in Star Citizen. And some old news on the Starfare.
Planning to do exploration and discovery? Because I'd like to know what it'll blow up before I blow it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of straight PvEers that are really interested in that. I like doing a lot of exploring, and it sounds like there's going to be quite a bit of opportunity to do that. So yeah, I think that'll be very popular. If you've seen how the ships have sold that are based like that, they're selling just as good as the combat ships.
Okay. They've also mentioned. We talked briefly about the room management system for the hangar. It sounds like you'll eventually be able to customize your hangar layout inside the game client, but the in-game integration for that is planned for next year. But that's still cool, so you can customize your hangar layout. Hey, one more thing.
Going back to the first point, I think everybody would like more ships. Put more ships in. You can hold off on this other stuff. Give us more things to play with.
I'm with you, Memo, but I gotta say, there's a lot of people that love housing, and like a huge number of people that love housing and the ability to customize the place where they call
I cannot argue with you there, because I know that's a fact. But being selfish, more ships. Just give us more things to play with. They've got all these beautiful models and descriptions they put out, and we've got pictures. I want to see them in Arena Commander, or at least in the hangar. We've got a lot more in the hangar now, but ships are coming out way quicker than they're going to be able to fill the hangar for the foreseeable future.
But they do have a different team working on the hangar than they do work on the ships.
Yeah, that's true as well.
My wife
but
would
more
take
ships.
Down.
More ships.
All right. We're getting close to our cutoff point for the night here, so I did have a few things left. They're a little older stuff, but I thought it was still some pretty good stuff that we didn't cover in some of the previous shows. They did say PlanetSide, you're going to see day and night cycles and rain effects play out. Chris Roberts said that the planetary appearances, structures, and elements will age, but he also said they may improve or or go backward as the financial situation of a planet fluctuates. So, they did say currently the 300 Iron Hornet have that capability. If you're in there where you're able to kind of load up the editor in the hangar, you can age them and see the effects on that. I believe Anything FPS released a recent video on that, showing those aging effects on a ship. But they said, so planetary environments will scale as well as the economy, so things may get either cleaner and newer, or a planet may go unkempt and full of graffiti since the last time you visited.
That would be interesting because usually nothing ever changes, ages, or I mean, everybody's played the game where you go to the main city and it's on fire or under construction from a battle, and then you check back in the game a year later and it's exactly identical. So that would be a nice touch. While I'm not concerned with lore, that is very interesting.
One bit of non-news that you mentioned Anything FPS, and my understanding is now that he's moving on from Star Citizen, which is a big shame and a big loss to the community because he's produced some fantastic videos.
Now we're gonna miss him.
Maybe you can get him on the show next week.
Have to try. A few other things they mentioned. One of the missile types has already been designated as a guided missile, which would be controlled by a crewman from a ship firing station. There are going to be variants of the Moby Glass. There are going to be different apps and manufacturers. Once you get the Persistent universe, he said in the Squadron 42, you're going to have a very stripped down military version. And they mentioned, because somebody asked, if you die in the universe, if you die out in space while doing some extravehicular activity, your ship would be in an instance and potentially vulnerable.
Extra V, is that what it actually says, or did you come up with that term?
EVA, extravehicular activity. That's what EVA is.
Alrighty.
So I
was wondering if that was a Thamin term or a Star Citizen term, because we've heard both.
I hope they change the guided missile term there, controlled by a crewman, because in my mind, all missiles are guided to some extent or another.
Yeah, but I want to set it and forget it. I want to push that button and not have to worry about it. I don't want to have to steer it. That sounds like more trouble than it's worth. I just want it to go where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nuts.
So gonna die.
I was just checking the statement out from Ansler, where he mentioned in some interview, sometime post-release, he'd love a feature where players can really customize their ship interiors on larger ships, and possibly even buying furniture, equipment, and placing them how they want.
Well, he's got that, not the Killa, what's the other one? The luxury one with the hot water bed and the piano and stuff.
The Constellation Phoenix or the Jump?
It'd be the Phoenix.
Yeah, he's got the Phoenix. So of course he's interested in putting down pretty things.
Well, the thing is, I think that Chris Roberts, when he's talking about that, he's making a vision statement, but that's also been balanced by around the verse on at least 2 or 3 occasions they've talked about that there's going to be limits on what you can move between ships and what you can place in the interiors, because it's so much extra work to have an instance inside an instance and then have that ship instance able to be modified so extensively. And a lot of these things mean that we would have to pay for them with our PCs and our internet connections in order to actually play them. So there's going to have to be some balance there.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of sounds like putting it in a bag of holding instead of a bag of holding. Just saying.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, I can see where that can get pretty complicated. Not much left here. The length per episode of Squadron 42, Chris Roberts said it'll be quite long, 50 missions equating about 50 hours. But that's just the missions themselves. There will also be, of course, the in-between sequences on board your ship and your downtime. There will be a fair amount of there'll be a fair amount of support roles for future combat. He also said there will be future Arena Commander zones which will involve landing pads providing resources, possibly rearming, but also the ability to conquer them.
Crash.
And somebody asked, could the Reclaimer's arm grab a hold of another ship while it's boarded? And Chris Roberts said it may be difficult for a Reclaimer to go up and grab a Constellation, but if you did manage to wound its engines, slow it down, the arm might be usable for just that. Kind of see the gears in his head working. It's like, okay, now how am I going to program this into the game? Alright. And he said too, for multi-crew ships, if you have really long distances you're traveling in the persistent universe, you might see your crew even going through day-night cycles. So again, that gets us back with the use of the beds and the extra seats. Now crews work in the game. Alright. I think we're actually getting about at that end time, so if anyone else, I got some stuff to add.
I think we covered quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, I can't believe Thamin said, I'm not sure how much we got to talk about this week.
Oh,
we
just
can always talk.
as much
guys.
the eye candy, the videos and the pictures and that.
David and I had some early shows where it was just me and him, where we just sat around and talked because we had 5 minutes of info and that was it, and the rest was just us, you know, kind of theory crafting on the whole what's happening. So we had a lot of good stuff.
I'm actually impressed with the amount of information that CIG puts out on a weekly basis every week. For well over a year, they've had this sort of consistency. I mean, there's a few weeks in there that were pretty light, but for the most part, there's been something to talk about every week.
I'm really surprised when I come home from work and there's a new update, even though I checked before work. But I gotta remember that they're on a, different time schedule.
Take it from me, you don't want to get behind on your updates, or you'll try and get in and have 3 or 4 hours of updates. Because every time I've wanted to jump in and play with the guys, it's been, 3 or 4 hours of updates. I'm like, well, have fun. I'll be in sometime tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump in there. Reminders of our grievance pilots who may be in the Twitch channel right now. A little over an hour from now, be in TeamSpeak and the Grievance Star Citizen channel there too. We'll get in a lot of action, a lot of dogfighting, and some fun together. Other folks watching this on Twitch, YouTube, our next show is going to be November 29th, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So looking forward to what kind of news we have then. That'll be right during the Thanksgiving concept sale, and we'll see what we have to talk about then.
See how much more money Memo has spent. All I know is it won't be as much as Arlia has spent. So there we go.
All right.
You shouldn't knock him. He can do it, so that's why he does.
Yeah, I know. Nobody can.
I'm going to say thank you, folks, and we'll be seeing you in the verse.
Yep. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.